Happy days. Let's rock and roll. So, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, whoever's on the call. Thank you so much for joining us. What we're going to focus on today is the following. We're going to take the next 26 minutes to talk about how we can build pipeline and close more deals, bigger deals with Sales Navigator. Now, what you're going to see in the next following session is the following. First, I speak very fast, and the reason being that I'm in sales myself, and I understand the fact that as soon there is a training session, the easiest thing to do is to put away the camera and to go and answer emails. I want to avoid that. So I'm going to speak very fastly and hopefully things that will give you value for you to stay concentrated. And second, I'm going to share with you a few specific best practices that I use Sales Navigator for. So the idea is not to focus on features and click here, click there. You use Sales Navigator daily. That's not the point. The point is to share with you what I use that helped me move the needle, because at the end of the day, we're all in the same boat of having quota on our necks and targets we need to meet. Let's rock and roll. So, what are we going to talk about today? First of all, is to start with why. Hence, why am I taking the next 25 minutes of your time? Why are we all here? Second is to set the infrastructure. Afterwards, we're going to talk about connecting with your leadership and why is it important, how you build a persona, the winning workflow with Sales Navigator, and my favorite is the 20-10-7 rule. Stay tuned. Let's start first with why do you need Sales Navigator? And I'm opening the mic here. So 18 people. All of you have Sales Navigator. Why do you need it? Let's see who will be the brave one to answer. You don't need Sales Navigator. Why are you here?
It's a great way to understand organization maps. It's the most current tool to deliver you a clear diagram on just a structure of an organization from an IT standpoint.
Nice. Thank you, Lucas. So you can get a better understanding on the organization, how the organization is built, and practically get data on organizations. Anyone else that uses Sales Navigator for another thing?
Map the org.
Map the org. Thank you, Eve. Anything else?
The message prospects.
Message prospects. Thanks, Dom. Absolutely. All of those answers are correct, right? I just want to get a better understanding of what do you use it for.
And 10 signals as well.
Nice. Thanks, Ryan. So follow signals and act accordingly. Everything you said is correctly. I'll summarize it in why are we here today? First of all, we want to hit our numbers. So everything you said is correct, but the main target that all of this serves is to hit our numbers, right? We want to get to our quota. We want to overachieve. So the ideas of all the actions we do is to close higher deals. Second is we want to shorten sales cycles. If we can sell instead of in 3 months, in 3 weeks, better. And to build a strong pipeline. What I hear across the board with all the organizations I work with is that it gets more and more difficult to build a strong pipeline and convert from reaching out and not getting any response to actually getting a meeting. So I want to summarize all of those whys into show you how I work that will help you move the needle from how you work today to make it your life easier for you. Because as we know, if we could sit at the beach and the signed order forms will just fall off the skies to our hands, better. But since we need to work to get there, how can we make it more efficiently? So for whoever is on the call and I haven't met you yet, great to meet you. I'm Liat Netanel. I'm the senior enterprise account manager for LinkedIn Sales Solutions. Hence, I manage the largest Israelis customers that use Sales Navigator. So that's my day job. In parallel, I'm a public speaker. So I deliver a lot of sessions about sales, business development. And when I don't do both of those things, I run and a lot. I'm for the past 10 years or a little bit more, I'm an ultramarathon runner, which means that I run distances that are all the way from marathons to very, very, very long. My longest race was 200 kilometers. Yes, in one shot. Yes, you don't sleep in the middle. This one specifically took me 39 hours, but that's a topic for another conversation. So taking us back to Sales Navigator. First step is to set the infrastructure. If we think of Sales Navigator versus LinkedIn.com, LinkedIn.com is great. That's the basic of the basic. We must have a profile in order to work with Sales Navigator. However, on LinkedIn, there is a lot of noise, right? We scroll, we see a lot of posts of people we work with, former colleagues, people we find inspirational, potential prospects, a lot of noise. In Sales Navigator, we get focus and quiet, which means that once we upload our book of business, we can actually follow on Sales Navigator only on the companies we're targeting. So instead of getting a lot of noise in LinkedIn, which we have in parallel, in Sales Navigator, we get notifications only on the company's accounts and leads, people that matter to us. So my first recommendation before starting with Sales Navigator is to upload your book of business in order to save time, to get real-time updates on your accounts, and to improve your search activities, which I'll show you in a minute how we do. So that's step number one. Very simply put, you download, usually RevOps prepare the list of like your targeted accounts for the upcoming quarter, or in my case, I'm an account manager, so I have list of named accounts, and this is what I should upload. For those of you who have Sales Navigator with an integration to your CRM, sorry, you will have it automatically. The CRM will just show you my CRM saved accounts. Usually it's relevant for AEs or AMs who manage customers. For SDRs, you need to upload it with CSV file, usually because you're not the owner of the account. So that's how it looks like. Once I uploaded my book of business, I have it under accounts. You can see my book of business updated in April, and the sales leaders, what you see over here, that's the persona. I'll talk about it in a second. I just wanted to show you visually how it looks like. The second part is that I would highly recommend to connect with your leadership. The reason being is many times our leadership is very busy with doing a lot of other things, but they have a strong network and then they can help you with warm intros. So instead of doing cold outreach and doing like generic messages that never get a reply, you can actually leverage someone within the company. So you create a win-win-win situation. In order to do that, first of all, you need to be connected with them. So you can see once you start looking for people to see if someone within your company is connected to this person and ask for a warm intro. So I played this game with on our demo, my demo Sales Navigator, and checked within LinkedIn, specifically the LinkedIn sales leaders, because LinkedIn is a huge company, the senior management that I'm second degree with, okay, which means that I'm not connected to yet. I have around 400 people that I need to work on and start connecting with in order to leverage them for warm intros with my customers. So I highly recommend for you to do that as well. So you make sure you skip the stage of sending cold outreach to people. Third part is to build a persona, hence to build the ICP, the person you are targeting. Okay, so in the personas, you can create a specific persona you're targeting. In my case, I'm targeting people in sales and business development, right? I'm selling Sales Navigator, so this is usually the persona I'm targeting. And the seniority should be seniority of decision makers, which is usually director and above. Why am I doing all of those steps, the 3 steps we did so far? Because I wanted to make it easier for me that when I want to start to build my workflow. So in my workflow, I can choose my book of business, choose the persona I wanted to target, the second degree connections, so people I'm not connected to yet, and people who recently changed their jobs. Why do I want to do that? Because people who recently changed their jobs, hence in the first 90 days, the first 3 months, are more open for a change. These are the people who are usually more open to buy new products. They bring new energy, they want to bring the change. These are the people I would like to target. I have 75 people within my book of business, the specific ICP I'm targeting that I'm not connected to yet and recently changed their jobs. So a bit like Google Maps, I'm adding a few layers of the map to target the first people I want to reach out to. Because in the end of the day, we want to first hit the low-hanging fruit before going to the more complex and challenging reach outs. So I literally wrote here the workflow, and the most important step to do is to save those leads. Once you're saving those leads, those people, you start getting notifications about them. Okay, so it's very important not to search in Sales Navigator only at surface level, but to save the people you're targeting as well. Because then it changes, it flips the script. Instead of you needing to chase them, you start to get notifications about them. And it's all about timing. So you get notification whether they publish something on LinkedIn, or they were promoted, or they moved to another company, or whatever. Okay, so it puts you in a place that you can receive all the data and make a decision accordingly instead of chasing data all the time. Regarding the workflow, so again, highly recommended not to do the copy-paste generic outreach. You have a lot of spotlights on Sales Navigator that you can leverage for your reach out. My favorites, first of all, to make sure that the account has a high buyer intent. Okay, the buyer intent is a combination of actions that are calculated in LinkedIn's algorithm. And if I need to target 100 accounts, I would always prefer to start with those with higher buyer intent. How we define higher buyer intent, it's a combination of a few things like how they're engaging with our company's page, if they clicked on a marketing ad, if they are connected with my colleague, if they answered an email. So there are a lot of a combination of actions that give an account a high buyer intent or a less. So first of all, I want to focus on those that have a high buyer intent with my company. Another cool thing is people that viewed my company page recently. Needless to say, right? They showed some kind of interest. They already looked at my company page. So better reach out to them first. Connections and connections of. So connections are the first degree or second degree that I usually choose. I would always choose the second degree because then I can leverage a mutual connection for a warm intro. And connections of are all those super communicators. Okay, if I have, let's say, someone I know from my network who I'm close to, and I know that he or she knows a lot of people, when I'm targeting the potential people I want to reach out to, I will check who is this person connected to. And if I see that he's connected to someone relevant for me, I will ask for a warm intro. So this is relevant for the super connectors in your network, past colleagues. If it's someone that worked with me in the past, they are the best people to get an intro with to the next customer. So why not? People who change their jobs, I just explained why it's relevant, and people who post on LinkedIn. Why we want to target those? Because it means they're active on the platform, and we can leverage the recent post they posted to our reach out. So you have a lot of info to avoid the generic message, which is very clear when you read it, that it was copy-paste from like a gazillion other messages. Keep it personal, you increase significantly the chances that people will reply. Another cool thing is for those of you who are traveling to see customers, so again, taking my book of business to stay focused and my ICP, my persona, but then let's say I'm going to London for a business trip to meet some of my customers. As I'm in London already, I can see who from my other potential prospects is in London, based in London, and I can reach out and say, hi, I'm in London anyway for a business trip. Would you like to meet for? From my experience, when you lead with that, people are more open because it creates a compelling event. You are visiting their area anyway, why not meet? Okay, so sometimes they're abroad, sometimes they are like in Greater London and it doesn't make any sense. But many times the fact that they are in the same city where you're going to, they're more open to meet. So that's another cool thing if you're traveling to leverage that feature as well. Regarding saving searches. So again, taking my book of business and my persona, and people have recently changed their jobs. So it's being updated all the time. It's all the time the past 3 months. And I'm saving the search. The reason I'm saving the search is because, again, I want to be in a position that I'm getting information to me. Like I don't need to go and chase it. I get it to push to me. And what I'm doing in those saved searches is that every week I get the new results of people who joined this search. So it means that people in my book of business who are senior leaders who recently changed their jobs, they will get into this list. So I will keep on the top of mind all the time, all the people that I need. Now, you can save a few different searches. So it can help you make sure you overlook all the relevant people for you in your book of business that something has recently changed with them. For example, if they recently joined the company, left the company, all of that you can capture so nothing gets lost. Another thing is lists for collaboration. So for those of you who work in pods, let's say SDR and account executive, account manager and CSM, with someone to penetrate an account, creating a list and working on it together is super important for a few reasons. First of all, you want to make sure that not a few people from the same company are reaching out to a person, which can be very annoying. And also to make sure that you're aligned on the strategy on how you reach and who do you reach to and how you manage it properly. So let's say the people who recently joined the company and posted on LinkedIn, which I showed you in the former search, I created a list out of it. Okay, this list, I can share it with my CSM. Okay, as you can see here, share list, I can share it with someone internal. And the cool thing about this list that I've created is in those 25 people, so all the people I've saved are obviously people who changed their jobs and posted on LinkedIn. So I have two hooks to reach out to them. Okay, it's not just doing like for those people, it won't make any sense to do a generic message because I have two great hooks that I can leverage for the reach out. Now, once I've reached out, I want to add a note. And in this note, I will write that I reached out or whatever. And once I make it public, public is not outside of my company. It just means that whoever is in my company in the CRM can see this update. And my Sales Navigator is connected to my CRM, so I don't need to do double actions. So even for keeping the CRM hygiene, then to make sure that all the admin work is in harmony, I can work on this list. So let's say I share this list with my CSM. We say, okay, those people are low-hanging fruit people we can target because they recently joined the company, so they are more open to have conversations on new products and expanding their tool stack, and they recently posted on LinkedIn. So we work on this list together, and then whoever is reaching out to a person first is keeping a note that is updated. So we know not to reach out to a person the other person already reached out to. So it helps better with collaboration and harmony. My favorite, the 20-10-7 rule. So as you can probably admit, all of us are doing this, scrolling all day, just scrolling, like looking for something insightful to do that will help us move forward deals. My recommendation is to allocate, especially in the morning before you warm up and before the coffee actually kicks in, to allocate 20 minutes for intentional scrolling. What do I mean by that? In those 20 minutes, you read 10 posts of 10 different people, and you choose 7 you want to comment on. Now, the comment is not great, amazing, wonderful, congrats. No, you want to comment with something that adds value, whether it's an insight, whether it's a follow-up question, whether something that will actually spark an interest on the other side to reply to you. Why is that? In the end of the day, it doesn't matter how senior you are or whatever, we're all humans, which means that we all have the same psychological mechanism of how we operate. Someone who posts a post looks all the time to see how many likes do I get, what comments do I get, whatever. Now, they don't know you yet, but once you comment on their post, and how can you know they publish it? Because you saved them as the lead. You comment on their post, your face becomes familiar. So maybe not after the first post, maybe you need to comment on a few, but let's say you commented on 3 posts and only then you reach out. Suddenly you're not a stranger and you increase significantly the chances that they will reply. The advanced version is not only just to comment, it's also to tag another person from your network. So I'll show you 2 examples in a sec, but one of my favorite things is to find a post that I find interesting from someone that I want to follow, and then to tag someone else from my network. And then I have a win-win. This person got a comment from me, so I get their FaceTime, and I tag another person to keep in the loop. So I'm not asking for time from any of those. I'm just adding them to a post. And obviously it has to be valuable. It has to be the right thing. So you don't want to spam people. But in that way, you get FaceTime for people and you stay on the radar without asking for time. Show you an example. This is how my feed in Sales Navigator looks like, right? So loads of posts, many posts that I can look through every day, and I can decide which ones I want to view or not. Specifically, I took one of my decision makers, who's a VP sales in one of the companies I manage, and I looked at her profile. Very long, very thorough, explaining what's the story, what's her opinion. First things first, I love the post, so I'm not just liking it. Okay, again, you want to stand out. Don't just like a post. Be the one who loves the post, who do the sparking an idea, something. And then I asked her, I said, well written, read the post, well written. What would you advise to do? So I'm asking an open-end question in order to get a reply from her. Now, needless to say that VP sales never have time, probably will never reply to my email. But I was like, I don't even expect her to reply to my email. I just want to follow her and comment on her posts for a while. And this was the first post I commented. The more posts she will publish, I'll keep on commenting on them. Eventually, at some point, I'll reach out to her, but not yet. So I recommend you to leverage the 20-10-7 rule to do it daily and warm your leads before you reach out to them. Another example, daily sales is a page that I highly recommend following, really good. Again, loving the post and tagging another person that is from a network and it's saying, I couldn't agree more with what's written on the post. What do you think? Asked one of the decision makers in my network. And then I got a reply. So again, I was on his radar. I added him to a post and didn't ask for any time or anything. I just popped on his radar. And when you do that with time, especially with now how LinkedIn is really rewarding comments, this is like the most, the action that is most sparking the engagement and impressions. You put yourself out there and you make sure you get time from the people you're targeting before you're asking for any time. So to summarize the winning actions for a better workflow, save your leads, save your leads, save your leads. The most important thing. You don't save your leads, you don't get notifications. The most important thing. Then you want to build a strong infrastructure. We talked about uploading your book of business and building a persona. Leverage your warm intro from your leadership. Critical. It's people that are within your company. It's their interest to help you to get to more people to close deals. The Sherlock Holmes, what I call, which is to find the interesting hook, the interesting insight in order to write a personalized message. Create lists for collaborations, especially if you work with other members in your team, and the 20-10-7 rule. What is a daily workflow that is a winning flow? So the first 20 minutes, leverage them to scroll and comment with value. Then leverage your leadership for warm intros. So whenever you want to reach out to someone, first check if someone who's senior within your company can help you with this reach out, and follow the alerts for compelling events for a reach out. So when you look at the homepage of your Sales Navigator, you can filter according to specific alerts to see what's going on. So it's not just that they published a post. If someone is in a new job, you want to leverage those things, not just to reach out of nowhere. You want to remember that small daily actions create a better pipeline with time. So what I'm offering here, except setting the infrastructure that takes a little bit longer, the daily actions are summarized into 20 minutes, but it's 20 minutes that are intentional. And the repetitive vibe, and as an ultramarathon runner, I'm telling you that, when you're consistent, this is your way to win the game. So it's not about doing something that is like out of this world and takes hours. No, it's daily actions that are small actions, but those actions actually move the needle. Amazing. 3 minutes for questions.